Yo, what's up, y'all? Finally, after all this time, we finally got this situated. We're ready to go online right now. It's going to take a second for it to get to Facebook and all of that. Oh, there we are. We're here now. All right, cool. All right, y'all. What's going on? It's Kev Stencil. I got the fellas on here. This is probably one of the most exciting lives I'm ever going to do. Because for all of us to be on here at one time is a feat within itself. You know, Brian be on the road on jet planes and stuff, and private jets. Romeo is in his 15,000 square foot mansion. Just everybody. I'm in my humble beginnings. I'm in my own little thing. Right. But it's good to have. Brian Moore is one of the most prolific drummers out here. We just glad to have him on here. Brian has played for everybody, but I don't know if y'all talked yet. But Brian has been I mean, I can't even tell you. I know his miles. They don't even have miles anymore. They just see his name and just let him on.
Wow.
Romeo, as Romeo and I met back in early 2000s. We were both accompanying Teddy Riley at the time. Well, actually, when I got there and Romeo was there, Teddy hadn't come back yet. He had left, but we were out. Yeah, we started with Blackstreet and Guy, and then we were doing a tour with Blackstreet Guy, Tony, After 7. It was like a bunch of them. And we had been on that tour for 3.5 years.
Yep.
One of the tours that just would not die, and we were grateful for it. But it was one of them things where we just were able to share with each other. I ain't know the whole time I'm playing synth bass and bass. Romeo's a bass player. If I had known that, I probably would not have been as lively as I was.
No, Romeo can play bass.
Yeah,
he's got a bass player.
Whatever. Hey man. As far as I go, I'm nobody. Let's just keep going.
Right.
Come on, bro. Don't worry about
please.
Me. But both of these guys, Brian, I think I met you back in like middle of 85 and then 85, 86, somewhere around there. Man. We were at Charles Lyle's church.
Charles Lyle's, wow.
We were in Atlantic City, and we were at his church. We were in the fellowship hall. They weren't even in the sanctuary. We were in the fellowship hall. And I think you played for, I think Bruce Parham was there. And then I forgot the other, was it Adoration?
Adoration of Praise. Bruce Parham, yeah.
That's who I saw him with. And he blew everybody away. He had on his fringe jacket with these fringes on it. And I was like, oh, who is that kid? I remember the color. It was an olive green, Doc. Don't think I don't remember.
No, you were killer. You remember the fringes and the color.
Bro, he was and I was on the other side of the fellowship hall, and I'm just looking like I don't even see no other musicians on it. This dude is smacking so hard. But that's what happens. Romeo and I got a lot of stories. So we trying to make this happen. So but I'm very happy to have both of y'all here at this time. And we're not gonna hold y'all too long. But let's get right to it, because there's a bunch of people that want to hear what exactly is going on. And of course we call this podcast time, but this whole musician world has been rocked upside down in the last couple of years. And I know there's quite a few people who would like to expound on it and talk about it and, kind of get their insight on what's what. But the truth is, we need to know what the real truth is. I just feel like it's really just getting to a point where people are really trying to find their way these days. Computers have been a part of what we got going on, but they started to take over a little bit, more than normal. There's a lot of perspective that a lot of people don't have. Some people are just naturally, emotionally like, what the heck is going on? And then there's some of us that have another perspective on it from, more business/scientific level to say this is what, the situation is. Whatever, Ronnie, we're going to be trying to acknowledge everybody at one time. So y'all just sit easy. We are late, but we are here. So y'all mind your business. All right. So I'm going to start. Let me start. And the reason why I'm saying let me start with Brian is because being a musician, Romeo is on the musician/singer side. So we're gonna come from that end because singers, I just don't believe they get there and just do either. That's just me. I'm just saying. But I want to speak more so to those facts. So Brian, let me ask you a question. I got these questions here. And both of y'all can respond if you want. The first question is, are we as musicians and singers, are we in trouble?
That's a great question. I've had this conversation with many music execs, many musical directors, many of those powerhouse people, gatekeeper people, so to say. And I don't know if we're in trouble, but I think the old mindset of what musicianship was and success for musicians I think it's changed, just as well as the whole entire world. So, to those who may be stuck in the old mold of what a successful musician or a singer or anything like that is, if you're stuck there and that's what you believe, you may be in a little bit of a trouble, some trouble, because it's definitely time for evolution, evolving, stepping the game up, expanding, things like that, thinking outside the box. Because the normal way, this is just my humble opinion in my career, I've had to just change my whole blueprint. I've been around, we've all been around
Yeah.
since the 80s and 90s, back in the day where record producers used to write a hit and buy a house for their mama. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Back
right.
then when
Yeah.
Right.
when people would actually audition for tours, there was so many
Right.
artists coming out that you can audition for tours. And unfortunately, saying that as a part of the community, that's really not the way anymore. That's not the magnitude of the way. If you get something like that, that's like a gem. It's like, what? Somebody's auditioning for a new artist? That's crazy. Like, but
Right.
that's not the new norm. So to sum it up for you, to answer your question, I don't know if we're in trouble, but I think it's definitely wake up time for evolution and expansion.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's quite an answer, and that's reality. I'm sorry, but that's just where we are. And you can't revel in past glory because eventually you'll be stuck behind, and trying to figure
Man,
life out. You know,
yeah.
Romeo, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Romeo.
Well, I was gonna say, just to kind of piggyback on what he said, we've all seen it evolve before. Like you said, we've been doing this for a long time. So, man, I remember when every single change happened. I remember when the first time I saw a drummer frustrated because he was like, I don't want to play to a click track. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
so yeah, that was a thing that had to be adjusted, and then samples came, and then when people start sampling, it's like, what is this? So I think it's just a continuation of that. Of course, when the uh, AI thing started to really happen, I was really like tripping because I was thinking, man, what are producers going to do now? What are songwriters going to do now? Because now you can just put in a prompt and boom, it spits you out a song.
Yeah.
And I was actually I was FaceTiming with Teddy, and he was like, man, have you checked out this blah blah blah, this AI stuff? And he was excited. I was like, I thought you would be one of the main people that would be irritated. He was like, no. He's like, no, you got to take this and just let it inspire us. He said, because it can't ever really be us. You know what I'm saying? And it shifted my way of thinking. And from a vocalist standpoint, to ask if we're in trouble, I literally have I literally just last week, a friend of mine sent me a song that he had. He wrote it. He kind of put it in the AI situation. It spit back this vocal. He said, "Dude, this is the AI vocal, but I want you to do it, live for me." And I was like, "Cool." I'm expecting to hear some generic. And man, this dude was singing his face off. Whoever the AI guy, I was like, "Hey, bro." So I was like, dude, I sang it. The biggest compliment I got was when my man got it back. He's like, dang, I can't tell who's AI and who's you. I'm like, I'm upset that I'm taking that as a compliment.
Right.
That I sound as good as whatever. But one thing I will say, when it comes down to it, the only thing that saves us is live. You know what I'm saying? It's live, and if we can just continue to make that a thing, nobody's gonna fill a stadium and just listen to AI sing or play. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing that can't be duplicated. And even as dope as this vocal thing was, there's still nuance and emotions and things like that just can't be that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But let me ask a question. This was the last question that I had, but I'm gonna bring it back up to the first one. So, are live bands still relevant? And that's me being a live band member, y'all being live band members. Are live bands still relevant? Because this is what premised all of this was. I went to the Chris Brown show a couple of weeks ago. I walked inside, and Tanya and I were kind of standing there. They got our tickets and stuff. Her godbrother was the one that he was. I don't speak too much because they get in trouble. But anyway, we got our tickets. We go inside. I stood for 2 hours. I didn't sit down one time because, and I'm getting a little older. That was hurting, but I still was amazed at what I was singing. The band sounded immaculate, man. They were killing. They were killing. The band was killing, smacking. There was no band.
Right. Pre-recorded.
There was a whole pre-recorded. I saw the playback machine sitting on the other side of the arena. And I asked the guy, I said, yo, okay, what's going on here? He was like, what you mean? I said, where's the band? And he said, right there. He just pointed at the playback machine. And I said, Landon Anderson, what's up, man? I said, yo, there's no band. And the way they had it EQ'd and, in the system and everything, literally it sounded like there was a drummer on the left side of that stage. Like they really made the, production sound live and kind of, like right there. There was no band there. So is the band still relevant? I'm going to leave that to y'all.
I'm going to just say this real quick and then I'll let you respond, B. Now y'all see how we've been feeling. Now you know how long you feel like, dude, y'all. No, we gonna just use the vocals in the cane.
I mean, you got a right to say that. You got a right to say that.
So I know what you're feeling, man. I know what you're feeling, and it's frustrating. The only thing now is like, typically when they would use the vocals in the can, they were using the vocals from the records. So people would generally listen and go, that's the same vocals as the record, but now, as you're saying, they're pre-recorded live musicians. So people are feeling the feel of a live band while excluding you guys from being hired. That was the part that I thought was kind of funky.
And y'all went through that because we were so busy trying to be high tech that we forgot that the humans were more necessary, because if we ever wanted to do something different, we couldn't, because we were stuck with what was going on, that's what gets me with these churches. Let me not even start that. Let me just stay over here. But vocally, that's amazing that, y'all singers can really sit back and go, welcome
to our world.
Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's so true. I felt that. Roman, I felt that from your heart too.
This show came
I
straight from
did
the heart,
too.
bro.
I felt bad. I was about to start crying. Like, dang, I'm sorry, Romeo. Dang,
It's like,
I was like,
man,
hey,
I can't even say nothing about that.
welcome
He
to
right.
our world.
You
That's
know what? But
crazy.
just to piggyback on it, when I hear this, especially Romeo, with you saying that, that's really facts, right? But I remember, we all remember, right? We remember a time even before COVID, but specifically at COVID when no one could be around each other. At that particular time, me and my wife had we had just bought a house 6 months before that, right? And so my wife says, "Hey, we can now build a home studio." I was like, "Oh yeah," my mind was in and saving money, getting the percentage down, like making sure the bank stay in my head was so much there. And
Mhm.
she said we can build a home studio, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, we can. So we built a home studio. It was probably like 5 or 6 months before COVID hit. We had no idea, and COVID hit, and that was the most workingest time, if workingest is a word, workingest
I've used it.
time for me, right? Because you couldn't be around each other. Shows didn't want you on the set. The masks weren't even in place yet. Everybody was just paranoid, right? And that opened my mind to like, wow, how much pre-record work is actually out there, like people, and how many, just in my situation, I'm using me personally, how many drummers weren't set up to do that. So
That's
that
right.
was like a cash cow. So that was the biggest evolution for me. Commercials, films, pre-records, show records, anything like that.
Mhm.
It opened my head like, wow, you know what, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah,
you now as a drummer, I can't only just do this. I can't only just say, hey, hire me for this tour. Now I have to have my own setup at the house to be able to expand or to evolve to other things. So now let me fast forward to today's time. Today's time, the biggest problem I have with this whole of course I feel like artists should have bands all the time. I'm a drummer, right? I'm diehard band. I feel like they should have bands. Like, why do you not have bands? Band singers, what are you, crazy? That's the whole thing, right?
right.
But then you got cost, then you got budget cuts, then you
That's
got
it.
creative view. You have some creative directors that don't want to see a band, that want a whole stage. Like, what can you do, man? Wow, it should be a band. Listen, am I going to fight against this thing, or am I going to find my way into this thing? And
Yeah,
that's what I feel
right.
is the problem now. It's an old method that's staying old, that's not evolving to the times that we're in now. And we can do that. We
Right.
smart enough. We talented enough. Man, some of the most talented people I know come from our background. That's crazy.
Right.
None of us should be stuck. All of us should be able to adapt to this industry if we're open to it. So for them not to have a live band on deck, but you heard a live band on tape, though, somebody got paid. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
evolved.
See,
Yeah,
Someone,
so now the
ex-
time is to become those cats. That
yeah,
be that go to. I feel you.
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I think what with that, so that puts it in perspective, and I guess the biggest thing with that, I'm a creature of habit. I know what worked for me before, and I can tell that a lot of that stuff um, is just not working anymore. And let's just be clear. I have to be clear about it. And there's some people on here saying stuff that's really profound. Tony Russell said attitudes and bad habits as well. That's just something that people got. Listen, if you want to be a part of this new age, you got to let that stuff go. I know what you did 35 years ago, and I get that. But 35 years ago, there's nothing that happened 35 years ago that'll work today. Nothing. Computers, they won't work. You know, you can't hook certain things. Some traditions should never die. But when it comes to just this new age stuff, it's different. Zion said a show with no live solos. Show should have the exact same name. Got it. It'll board creative. Please, what is Teddy saying? Please leave this live up. I'm gonna leave it up. And I'm trying to be fast with it because I know we started late. I think the biggest thing with this is that when we really pay attention to what's going on, like you said, Brian, very profoundly put, Romeo, you said it earlier, that there are things that we have to evolve to. In other words, there are things that we have to get ready for. When Teddy Riley says, "Oh no, we need to be adjusted, not the AI." We need to be adjusted.
Woke me right up. Really caught me off guard because, like I said, I was like, Ted, I thought you were gonna be the main person. Like, yo, this ain't cool. But he's like, no. He's like, you know what? Take it, let it inspire you. But did you guys see this? Did you see this coming earlier, little by little? Like when hip hop started and they realized they can make the same amount of money by having a couple of guys, microphone, a hype man, and a DJ, instead of 10 band members and 4 background singers. I knew then, I was like, this is gonna be a problem because they're wanting to save money. And I'm talking about the powers that be. They don't care. They want to figure out how they can make profit. Yeah. I'll never forget when I was first starting to tour with Rasan Patterson. You guys know how Rasan Patterson's music is. You know how his vocals are. It's got to be live. It's got to be live. The way his feel is, it has to be live. And he was a new artist. We were going on tour with him, and I remember they didn't want him to take a band, or they wanted him to take a small amount of people. And I would believe he pretty much stood up to that. It's like, I have to have it feel like I want it to feel. And I think at the time, thank God, we were going on tour with Michelle and Deggiocello. And she said, tell them to let you know who you can take. And whoever they want to allow you to take, you can use that member of my band as your band. And we worked it out. But that was that was before 2000. So I've been seeing it coming for a while. I just didn't. I never thought it would be to this point, but it is, man.
It's and let me say this. Jason Hendrickson is on here. What's up? We got a song coming out. It's funny. I don't want to tell y'all about it, but when y'all hear it, y'all gonna be like, I know they ain't doing what I think they're doing. It's gonna be fun. Here's the reality. Brian, I'm gonna let you speak more on that, but when it comes to this AI thing and the new computers and all sorts of stuff, I still go back to what you said that Teddy said. Let it inspire you. As you all know, we just lost Anthony Jackson, and that probably was a gut punch to all bass players around the world at this point. But it's amazing. He's gone. All these videos coming up about Anthony Jackson. And there was one video where he was sitting in that gold shirt with that towel around his neck.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he was sitting there. He was like, "I'll die before I let a machine
outplay me." Yep.
He said, "I'll literally die. Like they're gonna have to just put me in the yard after that because I'm not." I just feel like the AI thing and the computers and all of that stuff, there's still nuances, as you said, Romeo, things that are happening where musicians still have that one note that a computer can't do. There's that one feel that you just...
It's personality. It comes from...
Yeah, it's a person. Yeah. Brian, what you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, and this goes back to what Tony Russell said, because I do believe that we have the one up. We have the personality. We have that good energy. We have the openness to learn if you have a good attitude. Now I'm going to flip on the other side. If you have an attitude like I've arrived, I made it, I'm the man, why they not picking me, whatever, then you're going to be stuck. I'm going to just call it what it is. Right? You're going to be stuck because nobody wants to work with that. No matter how good you think you are, no matter how much you think you've invented or did this, nobody don't want to work with you, bro. So yes, I agree. If you have that energy, look, I've worked with artists that see AI, that see that technology and still say, I want a band, not just because of how you play. Learning how to play and how to sing really good is not a perk anymore. That's a requirement. That's a requirement to get into this game. You're not special because you're dope. You know,
I love.
that's the minimum. That's the bottom line to
That's
even
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
considered for this. So
yeah.
That's
so
the
your
entry.
attitude, yeah,
Mhm.
right. So your attitude, how well you can get along with people, how prompt you are, how on time you are, your appearance, your social media, what you look like, bro. This is
Yeah.
what you say you want. This is what you say you would give your life for it. I would do anything to do it, and you get a small smidgen and you trash it. Yeah, I'm going to say it because
Mhm.
I am like the Peter Pan for all of the underground musicians that are super ready to do this and will give their all and give everything and want a chance while this person is in the way or that person is with. Man, let some of these good people that have good attitudes get to this forefront, man, because I'm a set up because I my wife always tell me I say too much, but
Mine too.
but but good attitude. Yes, Tony Russell, you are right. What's up, Tony? What's up, Landon? I can't see everybody else on there. But yes, that is so true. Good attitude. If you got good attitude, then you're open. What is this AI doing?
Yeah,
What are these computers doing? Let me say, oh, yo, that's dope. Let me try. Let me
yeah.
try. So yes, I agree. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I went too long.
No, that was much needed. No, no, you spot on. And I think I'm letting y'all say it because people know I'm ready to open my mouth and say what I need to say with no problem. I ain't never scared to say it, and I'll put it this way: um, some of our musicians, some of our brothers and sisters, even for that matter, they tend to operate at such a magnitude that basically displays their ignorance when it comes to being a real musician. And with that, I say that they have gotten to a point where a lot of people are wonders in their own souls, and they are their own Jesus, you know.
Mm.
And they feel like because I'm here, I just went through it yesterday. I don't know who this kid is, but you know, Brian Romeo, when we show up, people feel like they have to prove a point. And I don't know what that is. And what I mean by that is that every time they see you, they feel like they got to do extra chops. They got to do extra riffs. They got to do extra runs. Listen, first of all, I'm not paying you. So whoever hired you are the ones you need to be dealing with. That's the first thing. The second thing is I have found this out that the best way to be heard, especially in a band, is not to be. And somebody said, what do you mean by that? Because if all they hear is me, and when we get off the stage, you go, man, you was killing, and you don't say it to the other guys, I was too loud.
Doing too much.
Mm.
I was doing way too much. But if you come off and collectively y'all go, yo, man, the whole band, all y'all was killing, then that lets you know that I'm telling you, hey, Brian, from Thursday to Sunday for almost 3.5 years, one thing I knew was that when we got off that stage with Guy and Blackstreet and all of them, the people came and said the band was killed. They didn't say, yo, did y'all hear Kevin Stencil?
Right.
Nobody cares. I keep
Mm.
telling people that I don't even like being that loud in my mixes. I can't stand to hear myself. It literally gets on my nerves because it just, you develop this callous of not working well with people, you know, and I want to work well with people. But there are a lot of guys who, you know, they ain't never been up the street, but you can't tell them nothing. You can't say nothing to them. They'll see somebody like you and want to argue. If I want to know about drums, if I call, I'm gonna go to Brian because I know he knows drums. Like he knows what a drum is supposed to sound like. If I want to know about the language of, you know, vocally, you know, training my voice, I'll go to Romeo. I'll say, Romeo, I'm not gonna argue with y'all. I'm not gonna waste time arguing. But there are a lot of guys who want to argue with me. Nah, man, that bass is supposed, them drums ain't supposed to sound like that. Nigga.
You
The
want
only reason you wanna argue.
I can't
I can't
argue with
argue with you. You mad.
you.
I'm like, I gotta tell you something. Somebody asked me this. You guys are gonna laugh at this. Somebody said, hey man, what is it that you feel? Well, okay. He said, how do you feel? You know, doing the Byron Cage album and then you just fell off. I said, how did I fall off? I ain't heard nothing since you did Byron's album. I said, you know what's funny? Some of my greatest work, people like you wouldn't hear it. And he said, what you mean? It wouldn't hit? I said, you wouldn't hear it. I said, because the people that I did the albums for are like so far out. You know, the money I made from dealing with them, you wouldn't be able to sit in a room with those people. They literally would not know who you are. But for them to call me, it's phenomenal. And my attitude was when I get in, circles like that, I'm very clear that I'm blessed to be there because somebody else could be sitting.
Facts.
And that's where we get a lot of problems. People just, their attitudes are just horrible. But, that's that. Let me ask y'all a question. Go ahead.
You know what, Kev? Real quick. That's very important what you just said, because the state of the music industry as music, I'm just speaking for musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and where it is, it can be very depressing. People not using bands, tours not going out,
Yeah.
not that many artists and things like that.
Yeah.
But what you just said is something I've been experiencing for like the last year and a half. It goes back to the evolution thing again. Like, okay, we know about this artist, we know about this artist, we know about that artist. We don't know about that one. We don't know about that one. So there's a whole big. Sometimes if you didn't know, some of our greatest heroes, so like you just said, you would say, oh, they fell off because your vision is so just here. You don't realize what Dennis has been doing. You don't realize what Omar Hakim has been doing. You don't realize what these guys have been doing because the vision is so small. So as an
You don't have
encouragement,
access to that world.
yes. And I've been doing this for a while. I put myself on the line. I put myself out there. I've been doing this for a while. For the last year, I've just broken into a whole nother area that I really wasn't really hip to, just to be honest about it. I wasn't. And it was like, and I'm like, oh, this where you've been. Oh, you've been over here. Oh, they make this kind of money. Like it's really been an eye opener. So just as an encouragement to piggyback off of that, yes, there where we are, where people have that perspective, maybe it's not even 10% of the industry, in my opinion,
My
from
God.
the openings that I've been seeing. Like it's just been crazy. So I just wanted to say that as an encouragement. The evolution, the expanding, and all of that expands outside of your vision. And get with Rome, get with Kevin. Let's not go back. Oh, he don't got no. He obviously got something. He been around for a long time, my G.
It's funny
Uh,
when Kevin made the post and I commented, you were saying, are we going to have to pivot or whatever? And I think I commented and said, bro, if you notice, I pivoted about 11, 12 years ago. And same thing, it's so funny. People still today, if you mention my name, they'll be like, oh, dude, he toured with Janet and he toured with Michael. And he was the coach on The Voice and he was the coach on this and the other. And I'm like, those were all blessings, but those were 10, 11, 12 years. Do y'all realize that I've still been maintaining? When I stepped away from that whole scene, it was intentional, right? But I had a game plan and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take what God has blessed me with to provide for me in my own lane. Because now I know I can do this without doing it within what people see as, oh, you're in the clique now. I've always been from Jesus, man. I'm older than probably all y'all, but from I started my first tour in 1989. It was with Vesta Williams. So I was working with all Ollie Woodson and Vesta and James Ingram and Jennifer Holiday and all those people, But then, I've not nonstop from that point up until I left The Voice. And when I left The Voice, I came to Vegas and built my house, everything. That was 11 years ago, right? So the people who are really close to me, they're like, bro, you stepped away 11 years ago. Every time I turn around, you're getting this new, you're doing that thing. And I'm like, it's all about knowing your lane and being more concerned about being good, blessing people, uplifting people more so than being famous or being popular. But that's a choice, though. I always say that some people may want to be famous, and I ain't knocking it. If that's your thing, that's your thing. You got to know your lane. I was real cool saying, you know what? I've learned enough within these circles to step back and say I can maintain myself doing this thing. And when people don't see you in, like what you were saying, Kev, when people don't see you within the parameters that they're used to seeing you, whatever happened to him? Dang, he fell off. So brothers having the best life ever. Saying best years of his life ever. So
a lot of people don't even know, and there's a lot that I choose to not say that I have my hands in. But I'm proud of what I'm doing now, so I do speak about it. I'm getting my doctorate in psychology.
Oh, I heard you say that.
And when I tell you, I don't know why I waited so doggone long to go back to school because I hated it. But to be in this field now, I'm overanalyzing. I'm always looking. I'm always paying attention. And I'm like, what is this doing for my musicality? And it's like, it's opening my vocabulary because now what I can pay attention to is my behaviors when certain things happen.
Very good.
And that was the pivot, was to go back to school to do that. I was just going to get my master's, but I'm like, you know what? Let me go for the whole gusto. I'm just going to go for it. But I want to say this, that the reason why I mentioned that is because I'm not going to be the hot musician all the time. When I look at Mike Tyson, point in life, it's like, yo, you can't say boxing without Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is he 60 now? And Mike ain't fighting no more. He's just chilling. When I look at people like Holyfield, and I was a boxing fanatic, and I look at that, I'm like, man, I'm a WWE fan. When I look at WWE, there's so many of my favorite wrestlers, my favorites 30 years ago. They sitting down somewhere. They can't even lift their leg no more, because they're a little older. My point is that I just wanted to be sure music is always what I can do, but I realized something. Music is not who I am. Because it's what I do. It's not who I am. It's what I do.
Amen.
Now, there are musicians, and I'm going to say this, and I know some people going to like it, a lot of people ain't. But what I found out was, and I've told people this, I can tell how you live based on how you play. I can tell your kitchen is nasty, your bathrooms are horrible, your bed ain't never made, your dining room look like pigs been eating in it. I could just tell because, and I come from that Joel Smith school. So Joel Smith's thing was play the song and get out. Play the song and get out. If I didn't learn anything else, I learned the psychology of being secure. Understand that if I'm playing drums and Brian show up, I'm going to play even more pocket. Go, oh, Brian, okay, cool. Because what I don't do, he will. So it'll be fine. But Brian also knows. Now hear this, y'all. Here we go. But hear this. You can always tell, like psychologically, like, you know what? There's certain things I don't need to do because the foundation was laid. It's just certain things I don't need to go out of pocket and go on. First of all, with these bass players, I don't know why y'all playing lead on bass right now. I don't know, but let's just go back. But I love the meat and potatoes of bass playing. Like, I love to look at the drummer, and I've had so many drummers, Brian, that said, man, how is it so easy to lock with you? Because as a drummer and a bass player, my thing is nobody should ever have to second guess where the one is. We shouldn't have to wonder we should never, and Brian and I have never really played together like that. But I think if Brian and I got together and played right now, you would think that we have been playing together for the last 20 years.
Of course.
100%.
I really believe that because there's a maturity that we have. I don't want to do all the talking on here. Y'all got to do it. That's why I asked y'all.
Well, I want to say something because you just triggered something in my head. Brian, you just mentioned a few minutes ago Omar Hakeem. I was playing bass with Sheena Easton, and the drummer, his name is Brandon Temple. Huh?
I said, I've never done that.
Whatever.
See how good his resume is? I've never done that.
Anyway, so I was playing bass with Sheena Easter, man, and she had this incredible drummer named Brandon Temple. But we were,
Yes,
we
sir.
were in Atlantic City, and he hurt his arm, right? So he had to go home. He broke his arm, and so they were trying to figure out who can we get to learn all this stuff immediately. They called Omar. I was already a fan. I was like, I know Omar Hakeem is, right? He comes in, he spends the day learning the show, and we started running through the show. Now I've already told you I play bass. I'm not a Kevin by any means, so I'm definitely pocket dig. I am going to play the part. You understand? But what I will tell you is that the artist is going to love the fact that the ad libs, the lick that's on the record, it's going to be right there in that middle of that second verse where it hits. That's where it's going to be. They're going to feel like their record, right? So that's what got me the gig. Omar had just left the gig playing with Stanley Clark. So they were like, yeah, he's just came in, he's leaving this gig with Stanley Clark. I was like, oh my God. Leaving Stanley Clark and coming to do a gig with me. The first run through, Omar, we ended up becoming really cool. But that first day, he was like, hey, bass player. I said, yeah. He said, feels good, man. Oh, bro, I couldn't walk through the door that day, bro. I was like, oh my King said, yo, that made my day, bro. That made my day.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, so it is important just to play that pocket, man. Like you said, drums and bass should be locked, man. Without one more thing, I'm sorry, I was gonna say.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We just did put a song out about a year and a half ago. I did a remake of this Marvin Gaye song, and of course, Sam Sims played bass. Donnell Spencer played drums. Right. Scott Mayo played keys and sax, murdered, and I did all the vocals. We all recorded in our own homes, and everybody that heard it was like, okay, why does it sound like you guys were in the room jamming together? When I tell you, Sam and Donnell were playing like they were looking at each other, bro. All of the licks, talking about that level of maturity. I was like, you literally, the bass line matched the drum roll. I was like, that's incredible. So I know what you're talking about. All that to say that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, you're right, Brian. Go ahead, man.
That's amazing. First of all, you're just gonna try to slip that in there that you played with Sheena Easton and Omar
See
Hakeem
what
on
I'm
the low.
saying? See what I'm saying?
Wow.
Come on, man.
I can't say that. I can't say that.
But
I ain't even played with them at the damn show. They even playing past, and I didn't even get that idea.
Hilarious.
But I think there's a certain chemistry because even with reduplicating a record or finding the chemistry in a record, find out why that record was a hit. Like that's one mentality, drum wise. Like playing with Justin Timberlake, finding out why Cry Me a River was a hit. Why was that drum beat so dope? All right. So then I dive into that and try to figure it out, whether that's sounds, whether that's feel, whether that's what's in the track, what's moving, what's in the song that's moving, as well as what you heard, Kev, at the Chris Brown concert, where it was pre-recorded, where they had time to make it that energy. I think there's something in there. Either way, whether you're playing together as a band and playing arrangements, or whether you're playing what the original record is, it's really diving into the spirit of that record. Like, so I just wanted to put that out there so people won't. A lot of times when people talk like this, it's like, oh, they're trying to stop me from playing. It's like, no, it's just really, I call it intelligent extras. I do consultations and I do video analysis, and a lot of time my drummers I have them play to a live recording, and they'll video it, and they'll send it back to me, and we'll get on Zoom and we watch it together. We go section by section and we dive into it. That intro, okay, that feel you did, I like that feel. That was an amazing feel. But what's happening in the rest of the song? Oh, the vocalist is going. It's like, and you're going. So why don't you take your expertise, all your rhythms you got, and mash it to what's going on in that track. Whatever that is. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, you're not trying to stop me from playing. You're just trying to have me refocus it to the energy of
yeah,
what's going on in the
so
song.
good,
So
so good.
yeah.
A lot of people, I'll come at it from this way. A lot of people psychologically will always think somebody's trying to stop them when they're trying to teach them. They will always believe that. And I don't want to be the downer in this conversation. All I'm saying is, even my psychological mind, I think I'm smart now. But I'm realizing that a lot of people have been duped to believing that arrogance and ego is what's going to present you opportunities. When I have learned that being a sponge and being teachable and always available to learn something new is always going to keep you not just working, but it's going to keep you ahead. Because another
Yeah.
thing that you knuckleheads on here got to know, I need y'all to hear me, is that when people see that you love to learn, they will offer information.
Absolutely.
They will offer it. They will see. I could tell what you're waiting on by what you're working on. So if I look at you and I can see that you're a person who is trying to learn the AI thing, or you're trying to be a great musician, you're trying to be a phenomenal bass player. Listen, if I say to you, it's always better for you to play under the radar as opposed to being not just in front of the radar, but going ahead of the radar. You're gonna have a better chance. And that's why I really don't understand, Brian, you guys being on here. I'll just use Teddy. I've always said that. And another producer that was on Teddy's heels, was a brother from Carolina named Devontae Swanee. And when Devontae came out, I was scared because I was like, I don't know. But when I was with Jodeci, I was a kid, and every day they would have to come and peel me from that stage because I'm like, I just want to learn. How did y'all get here? How did y'all came from the quartet world? How did y'all get here? You know, and Dalvin and all, they were so instrumental in just telling me not, oh man, you just got to go through it. They weren't gatekeepers. They was like, this what happened. We was broke. We got in the car that we didn't know was going to make it up to New York. And and things just happened. But I think that's the intelligence of it, Brian, like you were saying. We have to be very open to learning. You got to be open to learning. I understand they told you was good at church Sunday. I get that. But that's over with. You got a whole another 6 days before that happens again. So who are you in
Yeah.
between Sunday to Sunday? Monday through Saturday, who are you? And that's like the biggest thing. Let me move on to this. I'm gonna let you. I ain't saying nothing about this one. Should musicians get residuals?
Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. I think there's two sides to this.
I think you're gonna say what I'm thinking too.
Okay. Okay. There's one side where you are an intricate part of creating.
You're right. I'm right there with you, bro.
Yeah, like you help created that. Then yes,
You
I
should be
feel
getting.
like you should get residuals, and I'm
I
gonna
knew
leave it
you,
at that. Yeah.
bro. I knew. I literally felt that you were thinking the same thing that I was thinking. I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, if you're a part of the creation, I think that you should get it. But no, if you're just part of the band and you're playing live, I don't think so.
So another brother said that if bass players are creating bass lines on albums, then they should get residuals. And I said, okay, but now again, I asked the question: are you guys creating the bass line? Did the bass line sound like that, and you just played it? Or did you make a bass line that didn't sound like the original? Because if that's the case, now let's be clear. Joel Smith sold albums. So whenever you saw Anthony Jackson soul albums, whenever you saw their name, there were they sold albums, but the residual process, I know for a fact that will forever be a battle because we lived so long without people being paid for what they did. So you probably won't make the cut on a whole lot of productions because you come with the, hey, I'm creating, but we need to talk about this contract real quick.
I was going to say, that's another thing too. It's all about the agreement that you're going to have. If I just start adding stuff on my own, they didn't ask me to, they're like, good for you.
Yeah,
that was
appreciate it.
That I learned years ago. I was so green. I think this was probably one of the first albums I ever sang on. It was a Jennifer Holiday album, and Michael J. Powell was producing it. Right. Wow. So you remember them back in the Chapter 8 days.
Absolutely.
Right. And he was producing it, and I was young, green, emerald green. Brother. So I'm in the studio. Hunter green. So we're in there, and Jennifer goes, can you sing this? I said, sure. She said, let me hear you sing it. I sang what she's saying. She's like, oh, this boy can sing. Can you sing this? I said, yeah. Okay. She did a couple of tests. And she goes, okay, cool. I like him. We start doing the backgrounds or whatever. We get to the end, to the vamp of a song. And she says, I want something else there. Do you hear anything? I was like, yeah, I hear a lot. I always hear stuff. Sure, I hear stuff. I got a ton of stuff. And Michael was behind the control like, I missed it. I'm like, I hear this. Let's try this. She's like, oh, I like that. Let's put that down. Michael's like, I've seen the facial expression, but I don't know. And so he's trying to tell me, hey, dude, don't do that. You haven't discussed that. I didn't know. And then after the session, he was like, bro, you just created a whole arrangement that you're not going to get credit for. Don't do that. So I'm applying that to what you were saying. If when we were playing, when we were doing the Janet tour, Sam Sims would a lot of times just put a whole new funk on a certain song. You know what I mean? You just put like a whole new feel. And I'm thinking, dang, he just changed that whole song. But that was just his thing. He didn't expect anything from me. He's like, that's what I put to the live feel. And, I don't think he could have gone back to them later and was like, you know what? I kind of like created a whole new groove on that song. So can I? Thank you.
Right. I don't think a lot of times we pay attention to the business side, which is why this is all going the way I want to go. I only got 2 more questions. And that puts us in this perspective. How you go in is how it's going to come out. So if you are not a person who handles business from a certain aspect in the beginning, if you don't deal with it in the beginning, 9 out of 10 times you are going to have issues.
Facts.
And it's going to come to a point where they you're going to be asking for stuff that they don't feel you are. I'm glad you came up with that, but like you said, all right, thanks. I guess what the next question would be is, how should musicians rate their pay? Like, what are you guys feeling? There are a lot of people who are asking for things, but they have not done things that are worthy of what they're charging. And then there are a lot of us who are charging a certain amount because at one point we were trying to be nice, but then when we grew up and said business is business, paying everybody else what they want. And why are we waiting 6 weeks to get paid? Just paid him 6 minutes ago. I don't get any of this. So that's the question. How should we rate our pay?
That's a good question. B. Good question, B.
Okay. So once again, I have this thing. I get this question with my consultation clients, and where I like to start first is their experience and the number that will make them happy. What's the number that will make you feel like you're justified for doing this work, right? So let's just say, for example, someone says, yeah, there's a 2-hour session. They have gear there. I'm asking them all of these because in my mind, all of these things make up the price that I'm going to give them. So if you're experienced, then of course, you're paying for the experience. You're paying for that the person knows what to do. You don't have to explain anything to them. I get countless amount of tracks sent to me by musical directors with no direction, with nothing. You're like, just play to this. And there's a full arrangement. So if you are the type of person that's going to be that detailed to feel the music, feel where the arrangement is going, know what to put, know what sounds and all that, then charge top dollar, of course. That's what you're there for. But if you're not used to this and you're not really savvy with your sounds or how to approach or can hear arrangements or things like that, then you should put a base value to your worth for that time and consider the rest of it growing pains, just to be
Love
100% honest, right? So but also being paid in this industry is something I always have to tap value onto. How long is it going to take me to get paid? So if I
Mhm.
if I charge this and then 3 months later I'm gonna get the check, then you know what? I got to make sure that 3 months later when I get that check, I'm gonna be like, it took a
What?
long time, but that
Mhm.
check that
Mhm.
check came
Mhm.
through. And just to add on my last part to add on to that, every day that I'm in this musician game, it's been 31 years for me. Thank the Lord Almighty.
Mhm.
Every single day I'm learning. I make choices. They're great choices. Sometimes I make bad choices. Sometimes I make emotional choices from the people that I'm around. Or I try, oh, that's my man. I could trust him. I'll give you this price. Nope. Nope, that was wrong. So I learn from that. So what I do is I'm just being honest. But I take all of those experiences and like Rome and Kev was saying, and I put them in my deal memo. Well, I
Mhm.
can never do that again.
Right.
Deal memo. Gotta have this, gotta have the credits. Even if you're advertising on social media, say my name. Gotta have this production, the split sheets at the top. So yes. To answer the question, think about what it's really worth to you and how much you have to give to this as experience wise. I would say start there at those numbers and really be honest with you and come up with a number that you could charge and feel comfortable with.
I like that. Yeah.
Romeo, you got it, bro.
As I think about this coming from a vocalist aspect, first of all, I have to say I've been really blessed with that situation throughout my whole career. I've never had a situation where I really felt disrespected, you know what I'm saying, with pay. Um, I remember when I came in, the first thing that I wanted to establish was with myself. What value do I know I have? You know what I'm saying? I came to the table saying, I know I got range like crazy. I know I hear harmonies very well, better than most. So I would come thinking, listen, in the beginning, I want to get in the game. I want people to know who I am. Right. So that was in the early years. I'm like, I'm going to come with a rate that I think is not making it sound like I'm desperate, but at the same time, I'm not trying to kill anybody because I want to get in and impress them. And then I would let them know first time I'm going to do this because I want y'all to see what I can do. Right. That's how I started off. And thank God people just respected it. It started off with Vesta Williams, started off with Ollie Woodson, then Vesta Williams. And
Mhm.
then they in turn start to tell people this dude is blah blah blah. So then
Mhm.
I got respect from the Charlie Wilsons and the Bobby Womacs and all of them when I was
Mhm.
young. So
Mhm.
that just blessed me, you know what I'm saying? But I would go into certain tours or because that's what it's mostly about with me when I came up. It was more tours than anything else. It was some sessions, some record sessions and award shows, but they were already the price was established. So it was mostly with tours. My thing was like you were saying, how long is this going to be? How many weeks are we going to be out? What is this going to entail? Do you need me to be the section leader? Do I need to teach the other people the parts? And then I would at that time, I would call my friends, my other friends, I would call the Will Wheatons and the Fred Whites and the, people like that, like, what should I charge for this? And then when they would tell me, I would go with that. And it just started to grow. Eventually got to the point, man, where I was just so grateful to God that I was literally going to gigs with a number in my head and they would tell me, we can pay you this much. And it was more than I was going to ask. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that's what I
Mhm.
was going to ask for right there. That's what
Mhm.
I was going to say that, and then that becomes my new price. So, you know, like you said, B, I've been doing this for 30 something years. So over the years, you just learn. You just, like you said, you take notes and you grow. By the time I got to do the television shows, same thing. I had no clue, but the figure that came to me, that was offered me, I was like, wow, I wouldn't have even known to ask that much. So I was just blessed in that situation. Once I learned, then I started to just share. As I learned, I would share with younger singers, like, this is what that's worth, but make sure you're good at this. Make sure that you know, don't just know the notes, don't just know the notes of the chord, know how to blend, know how to enunciate, know how to cut off at the same time. All these things are going to you'll be able to tell producers. A lot of times I would tell producers, you don't really have to call that many things. I can sing the bass part and I can sing the tenor part. You know what I'm saying? If you're cool with that, I can do this. Or and the blend's gonna be tighter because it's me. You know, so I'm gonna save you time. So it's just knowing, like I said, knowing your strength and knowing what they need and knowing how to kind of balance that.
I want
Go
to
ahead.
add, I
Go
want
ahead.
to add
Go ahead.
one thing, Rom, and thank you for saying that, because my mental answering this question was more sessions at first. Touring, just like you said, that's a whole nother thing. Like,
Right.
it's specifically for drummers, right? I want drummers to know this. Being self-contained on the tour brings you more money in the story. If you got your own gear, which means your endorsements have to be in play. But if you have your own gear, your own touring cases, there's plenty of my friends that I've told about this. Paige Cooper, we went out with SZA, Mike Reed, all of these guys. I tell them, yo, and you know who told me about this early in the day? Eric Trivet. Yeah, Eric Trivet was the one that told me, yo, just have all your stuff there and just rent it to them, rent it to this person. So a lot of what I do in the negotiation for tour, there's the base salary for what I know I'm going to do, but there's also, I'm self-contained. I have all the gear, I have all my touring cases. You don't have to worry about anything, and then that's a whole nother number. So thank you for saying that, Ron, because
No doubt.
that is specifically for drummers. That's an incentive for you guys to evolve and elevate so you can get more bread.
Bass players are the same way. These last couple of times when Maze was out, before there's a whole little legal thing to that. I can't talk too much about it. But when we were actually out and doing our thing, we were. Are you guys still seeing me?
Partially.
Okay, I don't know what that was. See, this is quick,
And
boy.
AI,
AI.
AI done took over, bro.
I don't know what that is. I'm gonna keep it going though. I'm gonna keep talking. I don't know what this is. I have no clue. But anyway, it'll come back. But they asked us, can you guys bring your stuff out? Can you bring, your things out or whatever? Because there was some other stuff that went on. The point I'm making is that becoming marketable is also a key factor as well. And when people know they don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get you out, they will bring you out. And I think that's the biggest thing with that is just knowing how to be marketable, which was another point I was going to make. It's a bad spirit. I don't know, Tim. I don't know what this was. But I'm gonna keep going. I ain't gonna let it stop me. It'll eventually come.
There you go.
But I guess where I am with all of this, to bring this to a close, I have to do another series on this. If you guys are available next week sometime, if you have time, if you're around, if you can do it, cool. But I just want to make it known that we as musicians have to understand one thing. As Brian said, thank God, all of us have pretty much been in this game for around about the same time. As I said, with that whole Blackstreet and New Jack Swing reunion tour, that's what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
We made so much money with that tour, man. I mean, it was just crazy. But I think my biggest was I saw a video that Dave Weckl was talking about how much money he was making back in the 80s with Toto, I think it was. And Dave Weckl was getting like $4,500 a week in the 80s. He said he bought his first house with it. I just want to make this known. You cannot charge $4,500 a week to nobody, and you don't have the money or the experience to solidify what exactly the 4,500 is for. I just don't believe it. I'm going to always say it with the greatest. There we go. All right. I'm going to say it with the greatest of respect. I charge what I charge because I can. I charge what I charge. There are people like they send their music. I'll sit at this island or in my dining room or whatever, and I will go and plug my bass up and do a song, and I'll get the money and I'll go eat. You know, guess what? Or I'll go buy new equipment or whatever. But I just feel like for you to charge a certain amount of money, and you don't have that experience, it's kind of ludicrous. And I could go another way. We're going to come back to this question. But there are a lot of people who will call and say, well, Brian charges this much. Hey, I'll do it for 500. They'll undercut you. Now you're making it harder for me to charge what I'm charging because you keep going over here saying you do it. But I just want to leave it here where it is. And you all know how I am. So I'm just going to say what it is and we're going to get off of here. But if you don't pay for me, you ain't going to get me. So if you paying somebody $500 to sound like Kevin Stansel, it's not going to be Kevin Stansel. It's not going to be Romeo. It's not going to be Brian. You know, because you are sitting there trying to cut corners. Now, be real. If you say to me, hey, Kevin, listen, I got a budget. I can only do it. Can we do it for $500? Depending on how I feel that day, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to say, man, come on, it's all right. But don't choose for me by going to get somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. So there's a lot of people. There's a lady on here. Her name is Darnita. And she spent, I want to say this right, she was in Europe doing tributes to Aretha Franklin and all of these other artists in Europe for 30 years. She came back home like a month ago. 30 years she been. I'm like, who are you going to have a conversation with? Like, who exactly in Philadelphia is going to sit down and have a conversation with you where they can subscribe to what you can't talk to nobody. You've been in Europe 30 years, singing and traveling and seeing Europe for 30 years. Do you know how many people can't say they've been in Europe 30 hours? You've been there 30 years. So my point for saying that is, once again, you're going to get these singers everybody been telling on Sunday, girl, you've been killing. You know, boy, you've been, and you run into somebody like her and you think you're better than her because she hasn't been seen. Right?
That you know of.
That you know of.
That you know of.
But these Germans and the Italians and the Spanish, they've been paying thousands of dollars a night to see this lady for over 30 years.
It's crazy.
So, you know, we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. Just because I'm not seen doesn't mean I'm not relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because you get, and let me ask a question. People see y'all on stage, right? But the people that see you off stage, that see you behind the scenes, that see you on the television shows, all of that, you know, to me, I just feel like they're more important because they get to see the process. You guys are just seeing the end result. But these people see the process. They see when I got to change, you know, a drum head in the middle of a song. You know what I'm saying? They see all of that. They see when, you know, this is just a loaded conversation. I just think we need more time. I ain't going to hold you. I'm going to be started late. Crazy equipment I had. But I just really feel like this is something that we really need to stay on whenever you guys are available. Because there are a lot of people who really, really need to hear you say that a phenomenal trend-setting producer said, no, AI is the move.
Sure did. Blew my mind. It's important. You know, I've always said this, man. I just always thought it's important You know, I'm 62 years old, right? So I came up in the South, and when we didn't come up as musicians.
Still can't
Even
believe you're that old, Romeo. I still
I'm
can't
I'm
believe that.
I'm I'm, I'm that old man. I swear to
I
God,
don't
I'm
believe it.
62 years old. But,
He looked like one of Lil Mo's dancers talking about he's 62.
so, bro, the thing is, when we were coming up, man, this was the attitude that we all had. I mean, I'm talking about all three of us. The attitude we
Yeah,
had as musicians, and the way musicians interacted, man, it was all about sharing and, how you play that lick, man, show me that, and then we show it, and that's dope. It was just that thing. It was the pride that we had from telling you, I learned this from blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Patrice Rushen showed me how to do this thing. You know what I'm saying? Or Ollie Wilson showed me how, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a whole different mind. Everything is a different mindset. And I think it's important for us to just keep this energy of sharing. You know what I'm saying? Let people know it's a normal thing to learn and share. It's a normal thing to help guide people. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing to be more concerned with helping the next generation than just shining. And I know I'm gonna say this. I know it's a very normal thing now, and it's cool, and I ain't dogging nobody. But I've been vocal coaching for over 30 years, about 30 years now, almost 30 years. So I remember when I first started coaching, a lot of people were like, what exactly is a vocal? What is that? What is a vocal coach?
right.
And then it started to get more popular. But I remember when the time came when it started, the social media first started. I've always recorded all of my sessions because I wanted to make sure we remember. You know how singers will sing stuff, you like, that was dope what you did a few minutes ago. What'd you do? I don't know what I did. So I would always record things for that purpose. But I would always record with, at that time, I think I had an iPad. So I would always have the iPad set up toward the person I'm working with. I would be behind it and just talking and coaching. And so I remember when it became a cool thing, for vocal coaches to have like lighting and top cameras, and I'm like, and the cameras would be pointed at the coach, and I'm wait, what is this energy? Like,
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. And it didn't feel genuine to me. You know what I'm saying? It was it started off in a way. I was like, why so much focus being on the coach? Well, later on it made sense, and I give them props. They were building their content. So
Right.
I got it later on. But I just love the thought of really uplifting and pouring in other. You know me, Kev, you've been on for a long time.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
to stay low key. I love to be behind the scene. I love to lift people up and let them do their thing. So just the fact that we're here sharing stories, sharing our thoughts with all the experience and the blessings we've been able to have, man, that's what it's all about, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I'm long gone, I want a lot of people to be like, I learned this from him and I learned that from him and he blessed me in this way. That's what it's all about with me, man.
Right.
I love that we're doing this.
Absolutely. Brian, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I'm the same, bro. I have the same heart, the same passion. I don't need awards. I don't need modern drummer things and all of this. I don't need it. My circle of people that know me know I pour into them 1,000,000%. Every consultation client that I have, every brother that I have to help, and I don't want anything in return. I don't want none of your check from when you finally go out on the road. I'm not taking a percentage off your money
Right.
or anything like that. I just want to see you win because
Right.
there were people that wanted to see me win. My
Yes.
OGs that gave me Dom Familaro, rest in heaven. He helped me. He was the reason I birthed BFM World. Like
Wow.
real quick, it was a clinic. It's like 11 years ago. Omar Hakim, Thomas Lang, Dom Familaro, and me. And I did my clinic. They did their clinics and everything. Afterwards, Dom comes over and he says, Brian, it's great what you're doing. When you really want to do this, let me know. We're here for you. I was like, what?
That's the best, man.
What does that mean? But I was open. I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me, because you are the man. And so that kind of energy in today's time can be so beneficial if
Absolutely.
people would allow it. I understand the feelings when it's your passion and you work so hard for it, and you are good. You really are good. You're great at what you do.
Yeah.
But just leaving that room open for people who have actually done it, the people
Thank
that you see doing it, is a great thing. It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not.
We want you to win. We're not trying to keep you from.
Yes. Yeah. Now, what you should be worried about is when those people don't want to share with you. Then that's the
There
problem.
you go.
That's when you become isolated and you can get
Absolutely.
an attitude and you can
Absolutely.
feel how you want. But as long as people are trying to help you, you should receive it. Like we
I'm
had to
with you
do
on
the
that.
same.
I'm with you on that. I did a video on my YouTube channel once talking about that. I'm like, listen, when people are trying to pour into you, the worst thing that you can do is repeatedly while they're teaching you things. I know that I do that. I know. Like that's the best way to cut yourself off from every teaching, every help that, because it'll take me about 3 times to hear that. I'm like, okay, you ain't getting nothing else from me.
Yes, absolutely.
Soon as you turn and
Absolutely.
walk into that brick wall, I'm like, oh shoot, I thought you knew.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, man. I love that you said if they allow you to. That was the one line that stuck out to me.
Man, back in grade school, I got in trouble in school, which was normal. And I got to my grandmother's house. My mother was like, "You ain't going home because I don't want the TV on. I don't want the Sega on." I said, "Save it." You heard that? I don't want none of that on. I go to your grandmother's because my grandmother had nothing, so she hardly had a VCR at that time. So I was just in just dinosaur land at that point. She had a friend named Mr. Dixon, and I was having problems. So he said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, that teacher get on my nerve." He said, "Well, do you have a problem with the subject?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit. It was math. I hated math." And he said, "Well, why didn't you tell her that?" I said, "Because I don't want nobody else, looking at me like I'm dumb." He said, "The dummy in the room is the one who won't say I don't know."
Pow.
He said, "That's the dummy."
That's the
He
one.
said, "The person who always has their hand up trying to get information, that's going to be the one that probably becomes president or an astronaut or something like
Absolutely.
that because they said I don't know." He said, "You're more worried about what your friends are going to think, but your friends are sitting right next to you. They don't
They
know."
don't know either. If
He
my
said,
son heard you say this right now, he'd be looking at me like, did y'all talk to each other?
and it's the truth. And back in the day, we're all here. We're a product of the society we're in now. But back in the day, they had jargon, and everybody kind of thought alike, especially in the black community. We thought alike, and everybody said the same thing. You're never gonna know because you won't ask.
That's right.
You're never gonna because I know I'm all right. I know. Knowing you don't know, that pride thing is something else, man. That pride thing will
Heavy.
It's a weapon,
but
bro.
yeah, it's a weapon against your own self,
The weapon against
because
yourself.
it literally keeps you from learning. So
Mm-hmm.
we appreciate that. But man, I'm glad I had y'all on here. I didn't want to keep y'all this long. This is a discussion that I personally believe that they need to have around. I know, especially where I'm at, it is amazing to me. This is Las Vegas, Nevada. This is like the entertainment capital almost now. It's starting to like really come over here. And I just got to be 190% honest with you. Romeo, you here too.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people come through this city, all right? But you never really hear of anything coming from this city. Now, Neo is from here.
I was
He
gonna
was
say
originally
Neo.
born and raised. He's from
Mhm.
here. But this is a transient city. It's like people come through here. A lot of times they don't stay. Romeo and I are here. DJ Spark is here. It's just a couple of us that's here. But the real reality is that I think a lot of us have been sent here to kind of try to change the narrative here.
Yeah.
You know,
Boucher's here now. Gucci's
Boucher is here now. That's right. He's right up the street. And there's just a lot of us that are coming from like LA and stuff like that. But, we're not from here. So the mentality we're bringing here is one that is incorporated or we're trying to incorporate it to where other people are getting, to understand what's needed, what's necessary. Because what I don't understand is why everybody's a musician here, but they're not getting the calls. Like throw me up. They're not getting the calls. It's like, but they'll call me like when New Edition was here, when Jodeci was here, when all these people was, it was like, Kev, are you playing? I'm like, man, I haven't played with those guys in years. And
I thought you would be out there with us, though. I thought for a minute, you would be out there with us.
Well, that's a whole nother story. But when Teddy did what he did, and he was like, yeah, Kevin, get ready to go on the tour. I looked up on my phone, Rowan, when they all about tour buses. I was like, what? What, am I flying? Why y'all on the bus? What's going on? I didn't go. But as God would have it, it was like, no, I'm not going out with Teddy and Frankie Beverly needs. And I was like,
God always got a plan, brother.
I was like, okay. And as much as, because, with Teddy, I would have been comfortable. Because I'm like, I know this stuff already. He's, they could change up whatever. It's still got that new jacket. They got that. But Frankie Beverly, I had to sit down somewhere. Because that was not music that you was just going to fumble around.
No.
You're going to sit at, people will, they won't even walk out. They'll just stand there and look at you. They won't even move. So
Frankie Beverly Mays got that music that people who aren't even musicians know every note in the song.
They know every note. And you couldn't play with that. So I had to sit around and listen to that. And we did 3 weeks of rehearsal. And it taught me a lesson. It was like, because, if it wasn't Earth, Wind, and Fire, I didn't care nothing about you. I had no care at all. But Frankie Beverly opened my. But I tell everybody, Frankie messed it up for a lot of y'all. Because the money I was making with him, I'm not going back. I'm not doing nothing I'm sorry. But I can do that. You can do that too. The marketing strategy is what it is, and again, if your budget is not meeting, just talk to me. Just talk to me. I just may say, don't worry about it. We're all right. But if you come over like, yeah, we got Kevin Stansel. Oh, you do? Okay, then your money must be right. Okay. Okay. It must be good. But with that being said, and we come from a humble place. We just want everybody to know that we want y'all to win, just like we're out here winning. Everything that we're doing has been done already. It is just a blessing that we're doing it. And we appreciate God for doing it. And we're thankful for the calls that we got, for the gigs that we did over the years, the tours that we've done, the endorsements. We got to talk about endorsement stuff too later on. We ain't gonna do it now. But I want people to understand the difference between endorsements and sponsorship. They don't know. I wish y'all would tell them because they just don't get it. But we're gonna talk about all of that. Yeah, huge difference. But we'll talk about it. But man, Ron, Brian, thank y'all, man. This was more than needed.
Pleasure.
If we can actually do it again at some point, I would hope that we can. It's been memorable. Like I said, Brian, I've known Brian for over 30-something years. I've known for almost 25 years now, I think about it. And we just, just so many things that we experienced. And we got way more information. But we gotta get off of here because I got some chicken that I gotta eat. It's a Friday. That's right. Listen, first day to make my money, then I'll be all right. But I gotta eat. Tanya
it was
made
good being on here with y'all, man.
We appreciate it,
man. Really, man.
Good to see y'all, man.
Yeah, me and Kev talk a lot, man, but it's great talking with you, Brian. It's good hooking up with you, brother.
You too, Ron.
Yeah.
Y'all some legends, y'all. Y'all some legends.
I didn't get to play with Sheena Easton. I didn't get that. And I've never played with Lady Gaga and Adele and all these other people. And I didn't get to do that. But I'll reach y'all one day.
Don't say the list of people you did put. That's what you're not doing. See,
watch this. It's nothing. Yeah.
Oh God!
I mentioned those 48 bands.
I look at them dudes now, and I'll be like, "Dang, we all old, bro. Everybody just AARP down in this month."
Wildly.
Right. But it's all good. Yo, y'all, I'm gonna keep this live up for a little while so y'all can check it out on Facebook. It's on my YouTube channel too.
My God.
And I'm gonna definitely put it on Instagram because I was gonna do Instagram live. I ain't feel like doing all that tech stuff right now, but this was good, bro. And I know there's a lot of information y'all gonna have on here that y'all can pay attention to. Y'all can follow Brian, y'all can follow Romeo. Go on their pages on Instagram. You guys on TikTok too? Are you guys on there? Look them up on there too. And we're gonna have more. I think we should probably do this series, and if it goes well enough, getting paid for it, but that's another thing. We'll talk about it later. But I just want us to do this, man. Thank y'all once again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kev.
This was
God
a
bless
phenomenal
y'all, brothers,
Monday,
man. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
we're
Be
gonna do
safe.
it. All right, man. Y'all be good. Peace.
Blessings.